All right, welcome everybody. This is the sprint demo for Kiali Sprint 24-3, which is going to be the Kiali 1.82 release. So the agenda real quick is as normal as we always do every third week. We'll go through a summary of what the sprint included. We'll do some bullet point highlights, and we'll do a quick preview of what we're going to do in the following sprint. So we actually did a lot this sprint compared to the past few. We got a lot more issues closed, PRs merged, mainly in the server side, but we did do a good amount of work on the OSSMC, the OpenShift console plugin that Fernando is going to show a demo of in a minute. So first off is some multi-cluster features that I'm going to hand off to Nick so he can explain that. So take it, Nick.
Yep. So the big multi-cluster feature that landed in this version of Kiali was external control plane support. And with that, Kiali supports running alongside your control plane in the external control plane deployment model. And so at this point, Kiali supports all the different deployment models that Istio does. So from that perspective, it's feature complete. There's still some future work to do for multi-cluster, such as some stability enhancements around multi-cluster and supporting OpenShift off. That's it for multi-cluster.
All right, so that's a big milestone right there. You know, we can actually say we're feature complete for all the supported deployment models. So that's a big one. All right, thanks, Nick. All right, Fernando, this is the internationalization support. So I will hand it off to you.
Okay, thank you, Mas. Yes, in the last sprints, we have been able to add support for internationalization to Kiali. Thanks to a community user contribution, we have been able to add infrastructure, the technology, and also we have been able to translate the overview page to Chinese. The idea is to continue adding support of internationalization to OSSMC. And if the community wants to contribute to translate the rest of the pages to Chinese or adding new languages to Kiali application. So right now I'm going to show a short demo about how it looks like. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So here you can see the latest Kiali version. Firstly, I had to say that the internationalization is not enabled by default, so you have to change Kiali feature flag in the configuration. So when it is enabled, a language selector will appear in the masthead navigation. So you click it here, you will be able to choose between the different languages. Currently, it's just only supported English and Chinese. So when you click it on Chinese, the Kiali page is translated. You notice that it's translated in runtime. There is no refresh. So you can see, I mean, this is only for front-end labels. You can see all the translated to Chinese. Currently, there is it's only just the overview page. So, I mean, I encourage the community to give support for the rest of the pages to be translated to Chinese, or even adding new languages to support more languages in Kiali. So that's all from my side, Mas.
Okay, thank you, Fernando. that was actually a community submission. A community member in China actually just popped this up in our PR, and we took and ran with it. So we appreciate that community submission. All right, so the next thing is we in our Backstage plugin, we're doing work to incorporate Kiali into Backstage. What we have introduced this sprint is our well-known Istio config pages that people know in Kiali. That's now ported over to Backpage. So you can see validations and things like that for all the Istio config objects. Notable changes. So I'll real quickly go through some of these. We added support for the ability of users to configure node ports in the Kiali service. This was another community submission. Somebody had a large cluster of many Kiali instances, and they wanted to be able to easily know which endpoint each Kiali is on. So they wanted to have a common node port across all clusters. So we can now configure that. Yet another community submission was the ability to bind secrets to the Kiali pod, where those secrets come from an external CSI secret store. This is needed to have better open ID integrations. We're continuing to do performance enhancements. The overview page has been optimized. We're going to see in some slides later, this is going to be an ongoing thing in the next several sprints, doing performance enhancements. The new graphical mess page is still being worked on. That's on track for release next sprint. Jay will probably have a demo for that next sprint. Our tempo integration is continuing. We have a new health check URL config. This allows you to check the health of your tempo installation if the health check URL is a different URL than where tempo itself can be accessed. Yet another community submission, or at least community ask, was support for Grafana 10 links, which the format changed in Grafana 10 and up. So we now have support for that. And the last two here are for the OSSMC plugin work. We now support IPv6 on OpenShift clusters. And the OpenShift plugin, the OSSMC, now shows alert messages in a message center style, like how a normal Kiali, standalone Kiali UI shows messages in the message center. The plugin also does the same. Bug fixes, when you actually ask the operator to create ingress labels or the Helm chart, there was a bug there where if your labels contained camel case, they were converted to snake case. So we had to fix that. There was a graph crash issue in one of our appenders. It basically was a crash in the graph generation that we fixed. The left-hand distributed tracing menu item, we had a problem there. It was not taking us to the right place. So if the distributed tracing is not fully configured, we fix this issue. When doing multi-cluster work, we provide a script where people can create remote cluster secrets, we call them. So Kiali can actually access those remote secrets. There was an issue where we weren't able to support AWS EKS clusters, but that script now supports that. That was also a community submission. So this sprint, we actually got a lot of community contributions here, and this is yet another one. And finally, we deprecated the verbose mode setting. This has been deprecated for at least 2 years, if not longer. And apparently it was broken. So we completely removed it now. In order to set logging levels, there's a logger config setting in the Kiali config. And that's been around for 2 years. So that was just some cleanup. All right, so the preview for next sprint, 24-4. I'm just going to briefly say that the main issues here that we're going to work on is performance and scalability issues. We're still looking at the mesh topology page, and hopefully we'll have something to show next sprint. And as Nick said, we're still going to do some multi-cluster work. Even though it is feature complete, we have some things we want to enhance there with the multi-cluster stuff. And of course, let's not forget Istio Ambient. Folks who are aware, at QCon this week, they announced at least L4, I believe, Ambient is now beta. We're continuing to work with the Istio team to get Kiali to have ambient features. And that's it. We'll stop the recording here and get into community discussion. Thanks.